here we have a pair of Triumph Tridents. We've got a Hinckley Triumph Trident 900 and a Meriden Triumph Trident, originally 750. This one years ago was breathed on by Mr. Hyde, Norman Hyde. He's got one of his 850 kits, and the cylinder head went off to his workshops for a bit of a holiday, and as a result of the extra cc and power I was able to gear it up a bit. And actually the Hinckley machine and this one really are not very different in performance, with this one being as it is. Obviously I'm not trying to claim that a Meriden 750 would be a match for that, but this one as an 850 with a tuned head and raised gearing can just about hold the fort with it. And I know because that machine belongs to my father and I've ridden both of them. But what I thought I was going to bring up in this video actually wasn't so much that, but in a way progress and technology, so called. And my father chose to give up riding a few years ago due to circumstances which I'm not going to discuss, but it was his choice. So this machine got put away, but recently he asked me to dust it down and get it fired up and running for him again. And he and my brother made an attempt at doing that a year or two ago, I think, but never really finished the job. So I finally got it going, but it put me in mind that after being laid up for a few years, how sort of difficult it was to get it going again, and some of the things that we were up against in order to get it going again, compared to this one that has also spent a couple of long spells laying dormant until recent years. And the sort of I wanted to make a comparison between the two as to how easy or not they were to get going again after being put away for quite a few years in both cases. In fact, this one actually got put away for the best part of 12 years at one time. It's never been too difficult to drag out and dust down and put some fuel in and get it fired up. It'll even start without a battery. Just give it a couple of kicks, that's normally enough, and off she goes. Honestly, it's rarely made any fuss about being woken up again, and like I say, it'll start and run without a battery even. It will wet sump if it's left for quite a while, but in many instances it's quite easy to undo the sump plate on the crankcase actually and drain and collect the oil, or you can actually start the engine and just hold it at a tick over. Don't rev it, and the oil pump is pretty fast on the Trident T150 and it'll get the oil back to the tank in no time at all. But there'll probably be some people who'll sort of raise their hands in horror that I might have done that a few times. But anyway, overall not too difficult to get going again after a long layup. Unlike this one, which actually proved quite a headache, and it would only run on 2 cylinders at best for my father and my brother, and my brother had the carburetors off, and apparently Sonic cleaned them, put them back on, still only had it running on 2 cylinders, and there was terrible smoke coming out the exhaust. And then also I think they finished up with petrol dribbling out the airbox, and they sort of gave up on it. Anyway, I got it here, we got the carburetors off again. I really don't like working on things like this. This is why I have a cut-off date of 1980, but this was as a favour to my father. So we got the carburetors off it and got the float bowls off. I found 2 block pilot jets. Ultrasonic cleaning is all well and good, but I don't think it's always good enough to get little passageways like pilot jets that are blocked solid clear. I used a suitable sized copper wire. Again, oh shock horror, you mustn't put wire through jets. Well, I had to, okay, because nothing else was going to work. I got them clear, put everything back together, and because the carburetors are so difficult to get off, I set them up on the bench with a fuel supply rigged up to them, and found out that the petrol was pouring out from them, because basically the way those carburetors are made, the floats and the float needle housings have an O-ring around them, and the whole lot presses into an orifice which the O-ring seals the outside of, and these O-rings had perished and dried out, and fuel was just pouring past them. And with the petrol tap left in the on position, or the prime position, which obviously they'd had it on that when they were trying to get it going, when they gave up on it and walked away, all the petrol in the tank merrily poured and found its way into the airbox, through the carburetors, into the cylinder heads on top of the pistons, and down into the crankcases. I actually drained the crankcase, the sump, the other day to change the oil. That is what came out. It stinks of petrol. I think if I'd got the engine started it might have actually exploded. But anyway, I fitted new O-rings into the float chambers where the float assemblies, the float needles fit, and put the carburetors back on, and eventually we got it returned to working order. But what a palaver and what a fight. All the tank, seat, side panels, airbox, everything had to come off out the way, and woe betide if you want to get a spark plug. But anyway, we finally got it going again. But of these two, I could have probably got 3 or 4 of these going again that had been parked up for the same amount of time, in the same amount of time as it took me to bring that one back to life. And I just got to wonder sometimes, if I'd have asked anybody which of these 2 Tridents filled its crankcase with petrol while it was laid up in storage, I bet 99% of people say, oh, the one with the leaky amyl carburetors, that'll be the one that's dumped all its fuel into the engine. Well, let me tell you friends, you're wrong, because it was that one, and I believe those carburetors on that one are either McCuney, or if not, they're Keyhins, or however you say them, but they're certainly not amyls, and they're about 30 years more technically advanced than what the Meriden Trident is using. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is a little bit of progress for you. Which Trident would you like to try and get going if you dragged it out of a dusty shed? I think I'd probably choose that one.